always a reminder for myself, ana abdukal ajizu da'ifu miskinu zalimu jahilun, but for the grace of Allah that we're still in existence. Alhamdulillah that the holy month of Sha'ban inshaAllah opening on Sunday, and we pray that Allah grant us the lights of Rajab that dress the heart and begin the opening of the lights of Muhammadun Rasulullah, the immense gifts and secrets of Sha'ban. Let Allah a hidden treasure wanting to be known, and that as the blessings of the seed of Rajab that is planted, that Allah begin to nourish its reality with the advent of Muhammadun Rasulullah, and that to be dressed by that, and that every manifestation, every haqqaiq and every reality manifesting from the reality of Muhammadun Rasulullah, that with that holy month that we ask that we do more salawats, more nasheeds, more of this ishq and love, this khidmat and service for the nazar of Prophet, and that Allah activate these realities of the holy salawat and durood al-sharif upon Prophet, that they bring the power to the soul, they bring the nourishment to the soul and all the realities to the soul. And that Laylatul Nisf Sha'ban is the spiritual new year, the birthday of Imam Mahdi and Salatul Khair, the 100 rak'ahs. Means that in this reality of the soul of Prophet where Allah will write the destinies for the year of who comes and who goes and what comes and what goes, what nations come, what nations go, what events and what calamities befall humanity and what rahmah and mercy befall humanity, all of which that we ask Allah to dress us from immense rahmah and grant for us khair and goodness, and to take away any type of difficulty, sadness and hardship by this for the sake of our love for Prophet that the goodness to be written. As a result we pray the 100 rak'ah Salatul Khair for the sake of that goodness, that, Ya Rabbi we have nothing to offer, and if we're hoping that we're going to be accounted for based on our actions, we don't want that. That we're not asking based on our actions that you write our destiny. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. InshaAllah if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also be so kind as to leave loving comments and please share the stream, every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Otherwise everybody's destiny would be in bad shape. But through the goodness and the actions of our love and ishq for Prophet that Allah write a goodness for us and to take away any type of difficulty that may have been written for us. Salatul Khair has an immense reality to grant us that dress. Means that it's through the action of Salatul Khair that we're keeping ourselves to be busy, to be dressed by rahmah, so that Allah grant us from this infinite blessing and infinite goodness, and that to write goodness for the destiny of our soul for the year and for all our years until the day that we take our last breath, and that for Yawmul Mahshar in which Allah raise us under the feet and under the shade of Sayyidina Muhammad, his holy Ahlul Bayt and his beloved holy companions. That under the nazar and intercession of awliyaullah fi sama'i wa fil ard, that everything that we are doing is all for the final chapter of our lives. That Allah to raise us in this goodness and to grant us from these goodnesses. We pray that we welcome the holy month of Sha'ban by showering, by durood al-sharif, by facing the qibla and asking, Ya Rabbi, that grant us from the lights and the love of Sayyidina Muhammad, making our durood al-sharif and salawat upon Prophet, and that praying that goodness and that dress to be upon the soul. We pray that Allah grant us from the lights of the holy month of Sha'ban and complete His favours from the holy month of Rajab, Rajab, that Allah grant us from the secrets of the Isra wal Miraj and everything that was granted to the soul of Prophet that, Ya Rabbi, grant for us from those blessings, from those realities, not for any amal that we done but for the sake of the love that we have for Sayyidina Muhammad, only by means of that love, Ya Rabbi, to dress us and bless us. Forgive our wrongdoings and our shortcomings and protect us against any type of difficulty coming upon this earth for ourselves, our families and our communities. For the sake of our love, for the sake of our khidmat and our service. All those whom are serving, all those whom are trying to be of service, that grant us from that light and that love of Prophet, and by means of that light that it intercede for us, dress us and bless us inshaAllah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa Basir Surat al-Fatiha. Shabad ya Rasul Kareem. Alhamdulillah, Allah's immense rahmah and ni'mat that in such a holy month Allah granted us immense reward of the birthday of Imam al-Hussain, Imam Sayyidina Abbas and Sayyidina Zainul Abideen, 3rd, 4th and 5th of the holy month of Sha'ban. Means that next week and next weekend zikr inshaAllah should be very blessed, very powerful, very beatific, and that these lights and this love Allah grants us as a blessing, that to take these lights and have this love, and by means of that love the goodness of Nisf Sha'ban to be written upon us. We said our life is like for comparison for people to understand, like a heavenly video game, that all these treasures Allah has put into this life of ours, and it's the humbleness and goodness of character that seeks it out and tries to retrieve these blessings. Arrogance and the bad character of shaitan come and say, oh this is not this is not the day, this is not the action, this is something is been made up. These are all the words of shaitan to stop us from receiving these barakahs. These barakahs that cost nothing, these barakahs only cost is love. That if we open our heart and we acknowledge these holy nights and holy days and births and give food, give water, and just sit in our room and give salawats for the sake of that love, the immensity of what their holy souls dress us and bless us. That we're in need of the intercession of Imam al-Hussain, Imam Zainul Abideen, Imam Sayyidina Abbas and all the Ahlul Bayt, all shuhada, all of the muhibbeen and ashiqeen and all the holy companions. That whenever we can find any goodness, any khair, that inshaAllah Allah include us in that goodness and inspire our hearts to go and get and retrieve that goodness. That not to let the arrogance and ignorance of shaitan stop and say, oh let me think. And that's the system that shaitan has enacted upon the earth, stopping people from God's blessings, and those blessings are free. Those blessings are abundant and beatific, and they dress and bless the soul beyond any imagination, beyond any understanding. That we're in the need of these nazar of these souls, the nazar of Imam al-Hussain and the immensity of what sifat of Allah His soul represents, what realities of our spiritual growth His holy soul represents. So these are immense blessings for the nation of Sayyidina Muhammad inshaAllah. What we have for tonight, Shaykh, we've talked so much in the last few nights.
As-salamu alaykum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, we often desire and do things bad for our heart. We feel the state of Mecca is impossible for us to achieve. What should we do?
You have to strive for goodness, Shaykh. It's like asking me that I often see a cliff and I jump. Then I say, something's wrong with you. So you see cliffs and you jump, there's something wrong with you. Is don't give in and surrender and acknowledge badness. So this is about a person willing to fight. If you're just going to the cliff and decide we're going to jump, that's it, then the discussion, there's nothing to discuss. So this system doesn't or shouldn't allow this understanding that yes, of course shaitan is coming to the heart. You thought you were walking on water? No, we're in a satanic system. Left of us, right of us, above us, below us, those are all the talks. 6 directions shaitan's attacking. Is there anyone that he's not attacking? No. I think maybe people come overly confident about themselves thinking, oh yeah, this path of awliya, yeah, this is going to be easy, and then find out that they've been annihilated by shaitan. So it's not something easy, it's a fight in which you don't count the victory but you count how many times you got up when you were knocked down in life. So it's not the standing on top of the hill and top of the mountain that you achieve something and everybody will recognize you, but it's a matter of how many times you've been hit down and pushed down on the hopes that shaitan would say, just stay down. And the one whom's successful in Allah's way is one whom continuously gets back up through all humiliation, through all types of difficulty, through everything. And we said this is the lives of the shaykhs. There's not one time that the shaykhs were happy about anything, everything arguing, everything attacking, every other type of shaykh attacking, every other person in the community attacking. It wasn't a glorified path in which everyone you walk and will scream and shout and hooray. So life was a continuous and is a continuous struggle against shaitan. Even we put out articles and everyone attack and we go through and try to have our people delete the attacks, doesn't mean we stop and doesn't mean we change what we believe, oh maybe this is not popular, maybe this is popular. No, we keep teaching exactly what we have to teach and maybe those people will change and recognize that they should be understanding these teachings and these realities. So this is our life, is to struggle. So it's not a good way to think that I see a cliff and I'm jumping all the time. So we don't like to acknowledge the defeat, but no doubt shaitan is everywhere. So this is the great battle. And we said before that the Haramain is not that people don't sin, because you may watch a shaykh and say, oh he ate like that, oh he drank like that, oh so he's one of those people. No, this is not the sinning that Allah's talking about. The sinning is when evilness enters the heart and the heart accepts evilness, now every intention is evil. So evil heart, dirty heart means every act and every talk they talk with you is evil. They're intending something, they're intending to harm, they're intending to lie and cheat and steal. And this is what Allah asking, Prophet asking for us, not that you're not going to sin, that sinning is a state of our creation. But don't let evilness to enter into the heart where you accept it and say, oh yeah I'm like this. So we've had people at the centre like that, yes I'm a munafiq, I speak with 2 tongues so be careful of me. Immediately say, what are you talking about, how you talk like that, get out. And they acknowledge their evilness and their wickedness. This is a very dangerous state, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, are people with extremely bad character and manipulative character possessed by jinn?
What was that?
Are people with extremely bad and manipulative character possessed by jinn?
It's good to assume 99% of people are possessed by jinn. Had they not been possessed, because Allah described in Qur'an what? I have assigned to everyone a qarin, an evil jinn, a bad desirous jinn who teams with your nafs and teams with shaitan. Everyone has that. So 99% of people have not purified themselves to fight that. So then safe to assume 99% of them, their qarin is running their show. Their jinn, if anyone says, no this is not true, go back to the Qur'an. It says, for everyone I have assigned a jinn for him. This is our life's testing, and that jinn works with the shaitan and is inclined towards the shaitan. Less than 1% of the population signed up to tariqahs, zikrs and to fight against themselves. That's why then everything Prophet brought for us was to tame that creature. How you eat, you're going to tame him. What you eat, you're going to tame him. How you pray, how you fast, how you do your zikr, how you wash, everything that Prophet brought for us has some relationship to the jinn world. Because either you understand that world and you begin to learn how to control yourself from that world, or it has already controlled you. And that's why then these discussions, we're posting now the article on the Gog and Magog, and every Wahhabi has entered in and start posting that the humans and your aqeedah is wrong. So what does that mean? Those like those discussions with Shaykh Adnan when he would say something to somebody and they greatly offended, but there was a deep reality to it. So what is their understanding of a human? Are you thinking that people now are Bani Adam, the people of paradise? And they walk, they fast, they eat, they have good character, they have taqwa, they have all the things Allah describes in Holy Qur'an, that they have a taqwa, consciousness, good character. Less than 1%. So the 99% of Bani Adam have given themselves to shaitans, ifrit and the marada. As a result, I wouldn't call them humans. They don't eat what humans eat, they torture, kill and maim not according to human standards, according to their standards. You know that they eat people because these marada eat people. This is their food, this is their sustenance. They thrive on the pain and the energy that is achieved in the adrenaline glands and to the glands of the body is their diet, not human diet. And we said before, how many thousands of planets, billions of planets have creation on them? And are they variations and deviations of Bani Adam? Many, many whom gave themselves to jinn nations and have they think evolved into something else, but they have devolved because the ifrit are not the powerful ones and the shayateen al-marad are not powerful, but the people of the kitab are powerful. Those whom Allah granted to be Rabbaniyun, that they learned the book, they taught the book and Allah gave them heavenly power. So there are nations and nations of humanoid creation, jinn creations and creations we could never have imagined, but you see them in every horror movie. If you saw them in a movie, they exist in some creation and location that Allah has made. That's why it's in our software. Logic and reason tells you, you could not imagine that which Allah has not created. It's impossible, that should be logical sense for anyone. So where are all those predators and insectoids and reptilians and all these creatures, where are they? They're everywhere. So they're more abundant than our creation 10 times. So imagine the millions of planets where Bani Adam are, 10 times the creation of Bani Adam is the jinn world. And the Juj and Majuj, each one of them doesn't die until he has 1,000 offspring. What Bani Adam is this? That's 1,000 offspring? 10, 20, if you're Mormon maybe 26. 1,000 offspring is not from our creation. So it means that these are the understandings that require the heart to begin to open, not to be narrow-minded, that what coming onto this earth is not from this earth. And that tafsir goes in very nice when Mawlana Shaykh began to describe that they come to the ard and they make mischief. Means they're not here, they're not from here, they come to this planet to make mischief. Then there are creatures within this planet, in the depth of the planet that exist and will make mischief. Then there are creatures in different dimensions of this planet. So everywhere you look there are creatures, and that's why we try to teach people on a smaller scale. It's funny when we posted about what you see under a microscope is one understanding of the jinn world. So 200, 300 years ago if you told people there are creatures in this water, they say, "Oh, what are you talking about, Shaykh? This is unimaginable, I see nothing in this water." You fast forward 200 years and the scientists built a device that shows you microbes, creatures. One scientist corrected our comments and says, "I don't know what you hocus pocus talking about, these bacteria are called pathogens, path of jinns." I said, "You answered it yourself, what's this pathogen means?" Even Allah put in your English a reference to the jinn, it's the path of the jinn. These bacteria that you don't see is them, these microbes you don't see is them. Therefore every sickness from them, every type of difficulty from them. So understanding that realm and how it affects us, not saying and being narrow-minded that, no, those are pathogens. Well, what do you think the pathogen was? What did you think the amoeba was? What did you think these bacterias were? So then it requires the heart to begin to open, that we are an energy creation. We have to understand negative energy. How do you bring positive energy and vibrations and power? How do you fight negative energy? So then that becomes this importance of dhikr, the importance of muraqabah, the importance of the understanding of how we eat, what we drink, everything. So this is a world that is opening very quick now for people, where everything is going to be based on the understanding of energy. Everything based on the understanding of sound and vibrations. So alhamdulillah that Allah gave the knowledge and the ulum of these realities are under the hand and the heart of Sayyidina Muhammad. And Mawlana Shaykh describes in that tafsir that Sayyidina Zulqarnain came upon a people whom had no knowledge of anything, and begins to describe that you can hear people talk but their ulum has no power. We're living in such a society, they think they have knowledge but it has no power. As soon as you leave the spiritual reality of knowledge, you've dislocated from power. So before people were doing martial arts but they were building their soul power. So when their hand moved, it's from ayatul Qur'an, it was not your hand but our hand. You used your spiritual power and your physicality then complemented that. Anyone who cuts the spiritual, there's an empty shell is only that's left. So knowledge that has no spiritual connection is empty and has no power. And you come across the people now that they have a knowledge, they have all these sciences but they don't believe in the Divine, they don't believe in a Divinely power. As a result all their ulum, all their knowledges are wasted in nothing. And as a result they inflicted upon the Muslims to stop believing in spirituality, stop believing in the connection to the heavens and stop. And what is your connection to the heavens? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah aliyyul azim. How are you getting quwwah? Is La ilaha illallah reaching to you directly? Does anyone think that they reach to La ilaha illallah? When they say there's no intermediary, there's nothing between you and Allah. So you really think the kalima includes you and La ilaha illallah? No. The only way to La ilaha illallah is through Muhammadun Rasulullah. That is the hand in which we have to hold to reach these powers, to be dressed by these powers. With the Muhammadan hand and the Muhammadan dress, all these knowledges are lit, are alive or activated. And imagine that what activation Allah will bring in the last days. So it means they're connected and powerful. And the others, they have a knowledge with no belief to the heavens and a science that means nothing if not connected to the heavens. As a result shaitan plays with them and giving them machines and machineries and think that these machineries will give them some sort of spiritual excitement. But they're all a distraction for shaitan because he doesn't want mankind to reach towards their realities. Now they have a Apple device to put onto your eyes and your head so that to be distracted from everything and just be a carcass for the shayateen. Because now people would just sit there with these goggles and just do nothing, so that they be an active carcass for the shaitan, knowing that this person will never reach to their reality. And if you put millions of them like that, millions of people whom will have no reality, and that's no threat for shaitan. But anyone reaching to their reality is a threat for shaitan, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, you had mentioned thoughts and intentions can be seen through our vibrations. My question is, as we have so many thoughts and desires going through our head every day, what thoughts are actually pleasing to Allah and how can we implement these thoughts in our daily lives?
Anything that's a good thought means that making intention to do good deeds and good actions, then those are khair and goodness. Anytime some sort of a bad thought is coming, then make salawat on Prophet so that to push away shayateen and to push away negativity and make your heart and tongue sweet with the durood al-sharif upon Sayyidina Muhammad. And then that becomes all the other talks that we gave in the last 2 weeks, that when you bring the light of Prophet is immense power. You're being ignited and dressed by the presence and the soul of Sayyidina Muhammad which can't be understood, and the immensity of its power and lights can't be understood, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sayyidi, you had mentioned that a soul that has entered paradise will not leave paradise. What is the reality of shaitan entering paradise? Will it not leave as well?
The reality of shaitan entering paradise? Yeah. There's a reality of shaitan that is a servant of Allah. So this confuse people, but the role that shaitan plays as a result of being casted out, then he plays that role according to how Allah wants it. And one time they said that shaitan went up and the association in Divinely Presence, the angels bound him, and Allah commanded the angels that to chain him on one arm, chain him on the other arm, and begin to see if you can move him. And the angels began to pull and they couldn't move, and he stood right there, couldn't move. And then he looked at them and said that, how can anything happen without the will of Allah? That if Allah's will is not allowing, all the angels in the world won't move shaitan. Means for them then that was a deep understanding that the role of fire and the role of desire is a testing mechanism in creation. So the one whom takes the burdens, the cursing, the spitting, the yelling, every type of anger is a intense position to occupy, that all of creation cursing him, all of creation putting everything upon him. And he serves Allah the way he's been commanded to serve. And that's why Allah knows his reality and doesn't tell us, fight shaitan. So this is important that, no fight shaitan, go fight shaitan, because then Allah would give us a izzah and a might to go and fight him. But Allah says, seek refuge in me from shaitan, means I will deal with him. There's a role in which he plays to bring out your dirtiness, right? So in the science class we have elements, and when we want to bring out something we need a catalyst in this element, and it becomes the flame, the fire. So you take your glass and you put the fire over it, and because of the fire you speed up a reaction. So Allah created this earth and wherever His creations are as a testing ground, that I want you to know yourself and I want you to achieve something. But if you came onto this earth and it was like a paradise, a bihish with no problems, no difficulties, no shayateen, no fire, then what would it be? It would be a new location of paradise. So we already had you up there, but I'm going to take you down there where I have created one, a cursed one, that's the role he will play, and that one is coming after you. You do bad, he's going to chase you, and as a result you have to start moving to get your rizq, move to get your protection. This is the role of this dunya. So everybody has a role they play in dunya, but in the presence of the Divine there is no corruption and there is no badness, everything is just the testing. And in the cave with Prophet there was a snake that came up the hole to bite the foot of the great Siddiq, and Prophet yelled at the snake, says, "You had no permission to bite the Siddiq." You know the role that you play, you have no permission to bite the great Siddiq. He said, I just wanted to see you. And said, okay now you saw me and you have to perish, and threw the snake out of the cave. Well that has a deep reality. Everything loves Sayyidina Muhammad in the world of light. But in this world of form there's a game, and we play the game to the best of our ability. You don't try to make friends with the opponent because he's more sincere than you. He's going to do exactly what he promised Allah to do. So they have many writings of big awliya that thought that, oh this role that shaitan plays, maybe I will try to play this. And they would go around and do things so that people could curse them and beat them and spit at them and throw things at them, and it was too heavy and too difficult. The amount of what's being carried and the difficulty put upon, so that to understand that the carrying of things and this way of being cursed, and these are difficult. Shaykhs tried to understand that and to implement that, and that was a heavy. Even Abu Yazid al-Bistami would say things intentionally to get stoned to death, and they would stone him and throw him out of the village, and Allah would bring him back because he was like near death, not completely dead. And then Allah would revive him, heal him, and he would come back too. But this was not something that was something that you would try to do often. Means these are heavy stations, the burdens of people and the bad character of people, to bring that out and to carry it. So everything has a wisdom and a hikmah in Allah's way, inshaAllah. And in the world of light, after judgment, everything is pure. All impurities and badness will be burned, and all purity will be brought back to its original state of purity, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, you had mentioned previously King Charles will play a significant and positive role in aid of Sayyidina Mahdi when the time comes. Is his cancer diagnosis this week a possible attack from the dark side to prevent this?
I would imagine the dark side is very disturbed about everything, but the main thing is that from the teaching of awliyaullah and the teaching of tariqah, that the teachings of awliya means they have no time. If they give a teaching based on this person will be this person will be that, inshaAllah it's a station that Allah will dress that servant from. InshaAllah we have the eyes in which to see it, a life in which to see it, and if the person reached that destiny or they didn't reach that destiny, then that's up to Allah. But the tariqah teachings, much like the holy companions, that if you were at a certain point in time in the life of Sayyidina Muhammad and you pointed to the different companions that weren't companions yet, and you went to Prophet and he's saying, you know, one day that one of these Omars will come to us, and that this great warrior who's killing all my companions, Khalid ibn Walid, yes one day he will come to us. And at that time imagine if you had said something bad, what you talking, you people don't understand nothing. What did Islam teach us? You can't judge whom Allah is going to guide, and you don't know when Allah is going to guide. But when that sword came and bowed down to Prophet it was not stoppable. So the Islam itself teaches us, don't get involved in judging Allah's creation, because only Allah knows what the true formula is, what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. But it teaches us have a respect We never know what Allah's plan is. If the awliya teach us, oh this person may reach towards being holy and may see the life of Sayyidina Mahdi salam, say alhamdulillah. InshaAllah Allah make it to be true and make that person to reach, and at the same time make us to be holy and to reach. Instead you saw so many people cursing, saying, my God, you just destroyed your entire ability to reach that by cursing like that. You think Allah would include you to be with Sayyidina Mahdi salam when your character was to hear the teachings of awliya and defecate upon it? No, you just signed off clearly on the test that you're not going to be safe and you're going with the fire. And now the whole world will be filled with fire. And every scholar you see say something bad, every scholar who comes against the love of Prophet there's a checklist with 70,000 names of scholars. And these are all hadiths and these are all in the signs of the last days. So every time you open your mouth bad, yeah okay you're one of those guys, okay we'll check that off. And it become more clear who these 70,000 are, they just open their mouth and they give themselves away. But what is good characters I don't know. InshaAllah Allah make them to be with them, InshaAllah Allah make me to be with them, and Allah give us good character and love and ishq and muhabbat. But you see the opposite now, everybody's very sharp with their mouth and cursing, yelling. Even your title says shaykh and sayyid and everything, whoo, they make horrible comments as if not have love for Prophet and not even the love for the family of Prophet because they're worse than Yazid's now. If you gave them a knife they would try to do like Yazid.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, with this reality of shaitan, is it okay for some students to play this game and think it's okay to test other students? Is this wilayah or mental illness?
Mental illness, because they're not playing with shaitan. Allah's clear order was a'udhu billah. But if you understand the haqqaiq, this is between the servant and Allah and what Allah has ordered as a testing for creation. But when someone tries to enact that because they have a problem in their mind, they will be burned on this dunya and in akhirah, because that's not their station. No different than reading about the Prophets and think you are a Prophet. We said the most imitated Prophet is Sayyidina Jesus, not Sayyidina but Jesus. But Isa ibn Maryam is nothing imitated, but this Jesus character is highly imitated and it has nothing to do with Isa ibn Maryam. So it means people come into this world, shaitan plays with them and they begin to try to imitate and emulate something, and that's not correct. We only imitate and emulate Sayyidina Muhammad in goodness and in righteousness and in good character, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, can all shaitans imitate our form, or is that imitation of our form just to shaitan that is attached to us?
Yeah, they can imitate anything they want, they can imitate anyone's form except Sayyidina Muhammad. Even they can imitate the images of shaykhs, and that's why people say, oh I saw the shaykh, I had a dream of the shaykh. Yeah, that doesn't count. The shaykh can be imitated by shaitans, and most likely if you go back, oh the shaykh was wearing like street clothes, the shaykh was not having a turban, the shaykh had no beard. Well, why would you see something like that? So yeah, those are shaitans trying to play with an image to bring a person. Now because of deceit some people are having dreams that, oh I'm dreaming to follow this person. Who's giving you to dream to follow this person? That's why the whole time we've been teaching people, turn off that television, otherwise you are going to be under the hands of Dajjal. If he understands that you're not taking your guidance from this gentleman who's speaking to you live, opened up his email so that answer your questions, but you choose to take it in a dream state, Well, he'll be sleeping right next to you, dreaming, saying, "Come to me, follow me, don't follow him, for you is meant to be with him." It's like, what? A lot of emails came in with that they're not dreaming that they should be with such and such and such and such. I said, there you go. Because if he's going to be able to play with you in the sleep state, well, he plays with some people in a certain way and he plays with other people in a different way. Either way, you're not supposed to be playing in your sleep. Sleep is just sleep. Ibadah and worshipness and connecting your heart is something that you have to struggle and strive and connect your heart in a awakened state with your connection to the shaykh, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, if we have the power of the Hu in our atoms and we have immense energy, why are we unable to use it to reach a higher spiritual level? What blocks this energy?
The ascension is not in the hands of the servant. That's what we said, you do the zikr, you do the practices, everything is based on the connection to the shaykh. When you have a strong connection to the shaykh you realise you're nothing. So why you have an aspiration, what are you trying to reach, what is it that you want to be? You were supposed to be nothing. When you're nothing and nothing, you're actually going the reverse way. You begin to meditate and you realise how you're nothing. You begin to meditate, you begin to cry from all the wrong that you've done. You begin to meditate and you go into the fana and annihilation of the shaykh and realising, I'm nothing, I'm no one, I'm nothing, and that all that I'm seeing and feeling is a distraction and a illusion for me, and continuously going down, 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 down. So it's not you meditate, I'm this, now I'm that, now I'm this, now they came now here, I got a jubbah, I got a sword, I got a this, I got a that. That's going the other way, means that now the nafs is blowing hot air into the person. They were supposed to keep crying that they're nothing, even they show you something and say, I'm nothing. This is just my nafs playing with me, and I have to go deeper into the nothingness of my shaykh's heart and to be nothing, to be nothing, to be nothing. And you see their demeanours are different, they don't talk, they shake, they have lots of energy and they cry often. They're not pumping themselves up, they're actually being deflated, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, are we allowed to open a charity where we can gather food and money and donate it to local food banks?
Yeah, you can find your own tariqah. Why would you want to do that? Then find your own shaykh and find your own zikr, and why would you want to do things like that? We have a tariqah, we have a charity, we're telling people to participate, and for months we're telling people, don't do your own thing because this is against what you're trying to do with your nafs. Why you want to open something for yourself, why you want to make your own zikr, make your own tariqah, make your own posting. Try to be nothing in life. As a result of being nothing, then support the shaykh's mission. But if you always have your own mission, it's now mission impossible. We were travelling in Lebanon with Mawlana Shaykh 25 years ago, and he came across a group of people and he said, you know why these people are so horrible? He said, why? They don't believe in a civil society. Here's a certain group of people, they're in the news all the time. Say, this country we have a power line, we have taxes, we have sewage, we have everything. You pay your taxes, you get your TV, your power, your sewage. This other group of people, they live in our area, Mawlana Shaykh is describing, they don't pay their taxes, and as a result they don't get electricity, so they take their wire and hook it onto our wires. So they ride off of our wires. They don't pay for sewage, so they take all their trash and put into our trash cans. So this mentality is not a collective strong group like Sahabi that each one trying to undermine the situation and to make your own organization. This is not the correct way. And as a result they were always in difficulty, those people, and always destabilizing that area. And this is a similar system with the nafs of people. They want to do their own thing. If you want to do your own thing, go out and do it. You don't have to do anything with us. But if you want to be a part of a community that grows very fast and take the blessings of this community, not yours, right? So then you become a shareholder of what we're doing. If you want from the barakah Fatima Zahra helping hand in all these projects around the world, then support it and participate with it. Take a shirt and go give a hamburger. But once you start to collect funds and put your own logo, but you're now not with the shaykh. Then you make your own website, then you make your own post, put a nice picture, put 3-4 sentences, and now you draw people to you. What happened to your shaykh? You're the shaykh now? So why do you want people to, like they're on a highway and they're driving to go see their shaykh, and along the way the students make signs and shops that stop here, stop here, stop here, stop here. So Mawlana Shaykh would describe, everybody opens their own shop on the highway to the shaykh. What's the danger? These people are driving in their life to reach the shaykh, to make the connection with the shaykh, to take from the faiz of the shaykh, the guidance from the shaykh. That's why he opened the email, don't email anybody else. There's no texting anybody, there's no asking anyone else questions, just email the shaykh. But what happens on this highway, everybody opens up their own little shop. So then now the car pulls over, and in that shop he says, you don't have to go any further, I will handle everything for you. You go to the next shop, say, yeah, you don't have to go any further, I'll handle everything for you, I'll be an intercessor for you, tell me then I'll tell him. And these are the sicknesses of the nafs when that's not supposed to be done. So only way to do is take the highway straight to the shaykh and the shaykh that you're following. Don't do anything else, don't make any other posts, don't make any other charities, don't make any other programs. Don't pretend to be with us, collect some money and give to somebody else and give to other relief organizations. That's also then bad character and nefarious. If you're with us, that's why the talks of munafiqeen. If you're with us, be with us. If you want to pretend to be with us, to go out and collect people's emails and WhatsApps and donations, that's very nefarious. As I've seen some people post with a message button. Why do you need a message button? Why do you want people messaging you? There's no need to be messaging you, just post and everybody else can share it. But they may be collecting WhatsApp numbers or communications with people, and these are very dangerous because many people will get distracted from ever reaching the shaykh, ever connecting with the shaykh, and they end up with somebody that has nothing. And then they lost their way, and that person now is responsible for the loss of people and distracting people because they didn't read the teachings of the shaykh, they read the other person's teaching. Who cares about that person's teaching? Or the guidance of other people where they start to tell them what to do, or here's the awrad, recite this, recite that. So who said to recite this and recite that? So these are the dangers of the nafs, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, if everyone has a jinn, qarin assigned to them, can this directly affect the person they're attached to when that person passes away? And is there anything we can do to help that qarin after the person has passed? For instance, if the qarin that was attached to, say, my mother who has now passed away, could it live in the home of the deceased person? If so, how to know and how to act?
Yeah, you're defending yourself against all of these jinn. So who cares if it's from your mother, from the gardener, from the neighbor. So that's why you put taweez, you put all your practices, everything. But that jinn is the one that the what do you call them on the television show? Oh, I'm seeing now your mom is coming to me and telling me that, remember the red hat that you wore, I had it on the cupboard, and then you had 2 shoes in the closet. Very superficial information, those what do they call them? Psychopath or the people who have telepathy. Whatever those people are, You ever seen how superficial their information is? Like, yeah, here's a red cap, you remember you were at the bowl game and you got the hot dog, and the person's starting to cry, yeah, I remember, I got the hot dog. That's the jinn. The jinn is still alive, his life is 2000 years, and he'll attach himself to other family relatives and start bothering them. This is not people whom have a connection to the heavens. If you had a true connection to the heavens and you talk to a person and say, oh when your loved one died they had an immense fire in the grave, they were screaming and yelling and they were there like this for 40 days, and they would describe the torment of Jahannam in the grave. You don't see that on television because nobody has a heavenly connection, and there's nobody going into death without torment and punishment unless they were huge awliya and that they had the intercession of Prophet. So all of those are fake. That's why when we sit with people say, oh it sounds so real, I said, remember Qareen, the one who knows everything you did all day long, and their lifespan is so long that they memorize everything. But true guidance, you would hear the torment of the grave and the difficulties they faced when their soul was coming out, how much they screamed, how the soul was being pulled out and they didn't release it. So these are not things that you've ever heard on anyone's television shows, and those are the haqqaiqs. The other things that people are teaching, shaitan promotes those people. Why? So that people think, oh the transition is so great, I can do all the bad I want in life and I can come back and tell people about the hot dog and the hamburgers and the sandwiches that I had in life. It's not going to be like that. That's the last thing you're going to remember, inshaAllah. Good. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa bi siri Surat al-Fatiha. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. InshaAllah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments and please share the stream. Every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.